Hello, everyone. My name is Lamont Gwynn, and welcome to Conquering Through the Crisis. This is the video multimedia show that is designed to help folks cope through, but go beyond coping through, because I believe why cope when you can conquer? To conquer all of the challenges that we face in life. And my guest today is, I'm so privileged and so excited about the guest that I have today because he is a true friend, he is a mentor, and I am just so happy to welcome Umar Hameed to the show. Welcome today, Umar.
Hey, Lamont, thanks so much for having me on episode number 2. Feel privileged to be here, and let's talk how we can all become awesomer.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So Umar, I remember meeting you a few months after my mom passed away. We were in Mount Washington in Baltimore. We're at a BNI meeting. We were sitting beside each other, and from that, we just exchanged cards, and from that became a really great friendship. What you do with No Limit Selling has been remarkable in my life. And I want to bring you on because with what's going on in the world today, I think what you do is so important and it can help so many people. But before we do that, let's do a little bit of background. I read your bio, and you have a very interesting transformation from Canada, oh no, from the UK to Canada, then to United States. And one of the things that you mentioned in your bio was the fact that as a child in the UK, you experienced some bigotry, some racism. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure, I was born in Pakistan, and when I was 3, we moved to the UK. And it doesn't matter where in the world you are, whichever the latest group of immigrants are coming in, they're the bad people that are stealing the jobs and destroying society. And it just so happened that that particular time, Pakistanis were coming into England, and they were like, oh, they're stealing our jobs. They're a bunch of bastards. So it was not subtle. It was overt, hostile, get beat up at school kind of racism. And it just kind of changes your worldview very, very quickly when you're the minority and you feel attacked from all sides.
Okay. One of the things you said in your bio was that I managed to walk through hell and then emerge in a better place. Talk about that a little bit.
So let me tell you a story first, and I'll come back to me. There are some human beings on planet Earth that are human lie detectors, that you could be looking at them, and right behind them is going to be a TV set or a monitor that they can't see, and a picture is going to pop up there. It could be of a dove or a frog, and they're going to tell you, I'm seeing a frog. And these human lie detectors will be able to look at that person and go tell whether they're lying or not. So just think about that. That person has no emotional hang up about whatever they're seeing. It's not like a dark secret for them. They just saying, oh, it's a frog when it isn't, or it is. And that person can tell. And the way they got those highly sensitive abilities to figure out whether you're lying or not happened because they had a parent that was a drunk. That in one moment they could go from being okay to being super violent and lethal. And as a kid, that allowed them to pick up this survival skill to get through it. Now it's a skill they can use in life. So for me, going through this process, it allowed me to read situations really well and figure out how I could navigate without getting beat up.
Mm. Wow.
And so the person that came out of it was A, you survive it, and B, you pick up some skill sets to get through things, and you can allow those to crush you and stop you in your tracks, or you can allow those skill sets that you pick up to enhance what you do. And for me, I chose to enhance who I was.
Wow. Very, very, very nice. So from the UK, your family moved to Canada, and that's
Yes.
where you found tech. And in tech, you then moved to San Francisco to work
Silicon
at
Valley, yeah.
Silicon Valley. And at that point, something major happened in your life. Can you talk about that?
Sure, I'll tell you a story first, then you can tell me what you're talking about. But what was interesting was I moved to California, no jobs, no place to live. My sister-in-law lived out there, so we were staying with her for about a week or two till we found our own place. And I got the Yellow Pages out. I knew a little bit about tech, so I went to computer dealers in the Yellow Pages, went to the first computer dealer and said this: "Hi, my name's Umar. I'm visiting from Canada. I wanted to get a lay of the land. Can you tell me what's going on with the computer stuff here in the Valley?" And the first person said whatever they said. The third person I spoke to said, "By any chance, do you train on Word on Unix?" And I lied and said, "Yes, I do." And I got my first gig on the third phone call. And the reason I share that with you, it's all about mindset, because people may have come to there and gone through, I need to, go to school, or I need to apply for a job, or I need to do this. And this was just picking up the phone, make 3 cold calls, pick up a gig on the third one. But what are you referring to? What major thing happened when I went to California?
So when you were in California after having your first job, you realized something about people as they worked in their job, and there was some sort of disconnect that now led you to do what you do.
Yeah, so I went to California, got a job at a computer dealership, which is the low end of tech, then worked my way up, then finally ran a consulting company where we would launch companies into the US market from the Valley, from Europe, from Asia. And one thing I noticed, no matter where in the world a company was from, they had two problems that were really difficult to solve. One of them was that you would have someone that worked for a company that did a good job, but could have been a rock star. Everybody could see it. Their bosses, their peers, their customers, but they never made the jump to reaching their potential. And the question was, why not? And the second thing was when groups of people came together. So you had a management team. When you looked at the individual people on that team, it was the best and brightest in the entire company. But when all those parts came together as a whole, the whole was less than the sum of the parts, because people started getting that human element, being selfish, office politics. If it wasn't my idea, I'm not going to participate in it. All that BS, that friction that gets in the way. And so I decided both of these things are human problems. How can we fix those? Because our friends in the psychiatry weren't doing it. Certainly they help people that are like, have a major malady, but take a really long time. Our business consulting friends weren't doing a good job of that particular thing. So I decided that I would solve that problem. And I took a deep dive into neuroscience, uh, psychiatry, sociology, even became a really good hypnotist along the journey to decode humans, to figure out how we can get people to break out of their barriers so they reach their potential, and how do we get teams to make all the BS go away so they come together in this magical way. And almost everybody has an example of a sports team that has just a bunch of average players, but when they come together, they become unstoppable. Then you have another team that has all these superstars and they don't amount to much. So
Hmm.
how do we make that magic happen for individuals and for teams? And that's been my lifelong mission since 2003.
Wow, wow. And you also do some work with individuals as well. So you help individuals. How do you help individuals?
So it depends what they need. So a good example would be I had this young girl come in. Her mother brought her in. And the reason she brought her in was she was 11 years old, and somebody had come to their house, and instead of pressing the doorbell like a human being, they started pounding on the door. The daughter's upstairs, mother's downstairs in the kitchen making supper. She goes to take care of whoever's at the door. It's no big deal. She shuts the door. As she's going back in the kitchen, she shouts up to her daughter, and we'll call her Jill for this thing because I don't want to reveal who she really is. She goes, "Jill," and Jill doesn't respond back. Mom's like, "Jill?" Doesn't respond back. Now the mother's scared. She goes running up to her bedroom. Jill isn't in her bedroom. Now she's panicking. She searches the entire upstairs, goes into the master bedroom. And they got a really large walk-in closet. When she goes in there, her daughter's there, and she is trembling, and she's urinated herself with fear.
Hmm.
And the mom's like, "Something's up. I need to figure out what to do." And she's telling a friend who says, "Go take her to see Umar. He'll be able to help." So she brings her daughter in, and the friend that recommended me had told me the backstory that when Jill was 3 years old, her dad went into the bathroom, and as he was a heroin addict, and as he shot up, he OD'd and died.
Hmm.
So I thought maybe there's some kind of issue with the dad that's unresolved. So I asked Jill, would you like to meet your father? And she goes, yeah. So I mentioned I was a really good hypnotist. So I put her in a trance, and in her mind, I have her meet with her father. And since it's happening inside her mind, I go, you're in a cottage, there's two chairs, you're sitting in one, there's a chair before you. All you need to do is say your dad's name. And when you do that, he's going to appear in the chair before you. And when he comes in the chair before you, just lift up your finger so I know that he's there. So she's got her eyes closed. And after about 10 seconds, she goes like this. Then I go, well, since your dad's there, you can tell him how much you love him, how much you miss him. He's going to respond back. And when that conversation is over, just lift up your finger. And that's what she does after a couple minutes. Now, if you're disappointed in your dad, or you have questions, or there's some unaddressed issues, bring him up now. He's going to respond when you're satisfied with all the answers, that he's told you everything he can. So she lifts up her finger again. And just to get closure, I go, okay, now your dad's going to tell you how much he loves you and misses you. And you can respond back. And when that's over, and your dad's going to tell you if he's disappointed with you or angry with you in some way, you guys can discuss that. And a couple of minutes later, she goes like that, lifts up the finger. And then I go, okay, before your dad goes away, if you want to hug him before he goes, go ahead and do that now. And what I'm expecting is she's going to be silent for like a minute and lift up her finger, but she doesn't do that. She gets up and goes to the corner of the room and embraces somebody that I cannot see there.
Hmm.
And for me, I'm getting chills and going, holy shit. And then she comes back and sits down. So whether he was there or not doesn't make a difference. She thought he was there. And then when she comes out of that, we start chatting about what was going on. So once she got closure, an open loop that she had for 8 years. And since she was 3, she had this thought in the back of her mind that my dad died and someone's going to come and kill my mother.
Hmm.
And this banging on the door had tripped that internal belief that mom's going to be killed.
Wow.
And so when we healed the thing with her dad, we also healed that. And the mom reported back saying, teachers are saying, oh my God, she's happier, she's doing better, she's doing great at sports. And so that massive change in one session doesn't always happen in a session, but had the mom taken her to a psychiatrist or a therapist, it would have been a long drawn out process. And when human beings change, they change like that.
Hmm.
It might
Wow.
take you 60 years to get there to the change. Or you might go to a therapist, it might take you 2 years. Or you might get fed up with life after 30 years, go, that's enough. Or you can come see me and, in 2-3 sessions, bam, we'll create the change, get on with your life, do something amazing.
Wow. Now, I know you've had clients who you haven't used hypnosis with.
Usually use about 5% of the time. Most of the
Right.
time use neuro-linguistic programming or applied neuroscience.
And can you talk about that a little bit?
Sure. Neuro-linguistic programming was developed in California, Silicon Valley, where I was, in the 70s. And it was a technology that they uncovered by studying what human beings do and how they do it. Because most of the time, if you ask someone, how do you do what you do? Especially if they're really good at it. Let's say someone is really great at playing tennis and the serve they're spectacular at. You can go to a tennis instructor and go, show me how to do that. And they'll give you the instructions. Throw the ball up, look at the ball, do this. Here are the instructions to do a perfect serve. And they teach 100 people, and all 100 of the people that they teach will do a good job, some better than others. But someone that's best in the world at it, when you ask them, sometimes they go, the instructions that the tennis instructor gave, or they go, I don't know, I just do it. And what the people that started NLP uncovered was how to decode what happens at an unconscious level when you do something like therapy or a tennis serve or being a salesperson or being, an Olympic class diver or whatever that thing is. We can decode what's happening. And once we decoded how human beings do exceptional things, whether it's something positive, like let's say being unstoppable, or whether it's being depressed. Who's the person best in the world at being depressed? Lamont, how do you do it? And we figure out how you do it. It gives us clues on how other people do it. And then we can actually go, okay, let's teach them how not to do that.
Hmm.
And so it's a watershed moment for humanity because it allowed us to understand how excellence happens and how bad things happen. And knowing how they happen, we can change those. Exceptional things, we can teach other people how to do it. And bad things, we can help people in a fundamental way to stop doing it. Because
Wow.
just telling people don't do that obviously doesn't work. Ask any addict in any addiction.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. So and I meant to bring this up at the beginning of the show. This is the second time I forgot, so forgive me. But the theme of this show is keeping a positive mindset, even when the world goes to hell.
Yes.
So you're the master at the whole mindset in understanding how to have that mindset. What do you say to folks who are struggling now with the crisis, that is going on? What encouragement can you give them from your expertise?
So let me give you a story first. I like telling stories, as you may have noticed.
Mm-hmm.
So I was talking to my sister the other day, and she's known for not being the best cook in the world. And so my dad was in the hospital. He fractured his hip, so he was there for 2 weeks, and he was complaining about the food. And what I was about to say to my sister was, at least it isn't as bad as. She goes, "You're going to make fun of my cooking." I said, "No, I'm not going to do that." And at that moment, it shows you how our mindset works. She's looking for the negative comment. I said food and cooking, and automatically she went there. I said, "No, I was going to say at least it isn't as bad as airplane food." And guess what she heard? She heard my plane food. No, airplane food. So when we have that mindset that, bad things are going to happen, we're looking for it. We're looking for our Aunt Betty to be critical of us. When she said something that was perfectly benign, that had a stranger said it to us, we would have gone, "Oh, yeah, who cares?"
Right.
But because she said it and we have our mindset made that she is out to get us, then we hear it in that way and it creates a response.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is, as we go through these trying times, and they are tough, right?
Right.
People don't have work. Whole businesses have been decimated.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my clients, she's in the travel business for corporations where they're spending $200,000-300,000 for trip for, let's say, their sales team. All that business is gone, and she's got to give refunds back
Mm.
to people of money she's already collected. So what we need to do is to take charge of our mindset. So certainly we can give people platitudes. This too shall pass.
Right.
And you're amazing. So what I decided to do was to go deeper than that. I created this thing called a COVID-19 Mindset Survival Kit, and
Mm.
it's got 10 tracks in it. And they're designed to give you control over your mindset. And one of those tracks lets you let go of anxiety. So if you're feeling anxious, you listen to this 8-minute track and you literally feel the anxiety leave your body. Will it be permanently gone? No. But for the next half a day, it's gone. Go do the things you need to do.
Mm.
If you need to access feeling unstoppable, listen to a track, and 8 minutes later, you'll feel unstoppable. For the rest of your life, no. But for the rest of the day, absolutely. There's 10 tracks like that. And I created that for humanity, and we'll put it in the show notes that people can just click on that, get it for free. And the only thing I ask is 2 things. Number one, share it with as many people as you can. And there's a button on there called Feeding America. And there's a food bank that's a national food bank that helps all the food banks in the country. It's called Feeding America. And all I ask is click on that link. You'll go to their site and donate whatever you can, whether it's $1 or $10,000, whatever it is for you. We don't see the money, we don't touch the money, but it's my way of giving back, get people the right mindset. If they want to be thankful, they can thank people that need it in America.
That is so great. I'm actually tearing up because I realized for my business that I had to pivot. And just now it just hit me how important this show really is.
Yeah, it's everybody doing one small thing
Right.
in whatever they can do adds to the greater good.
Right.
And if we wait for doing that, trillion-dollar idea that'll change the world immediately. Most of us don't have the capacity to do that.
Right.
But if we stay on the sidelines, either you're on the front lines or you're on the sidelines.
Right.
If you're on the sidelines, you might as well just walk, not off the field because you're already off the field, walk out of the stadium.
Right.
But if you can step on the field and just do one small thing, and that could be looking after a neighbor. Like in our neighborhood, there's this one woman, her name's Meg, and Meg, as you know, Lamont, my wife passed away.
Right.
October 16th, 2018. And the neighbors stepped up throughout the process. But when she passed, Meg was like, okay, what needs doing? And then she rallied the entire neighborhood to come help me with the backyard, with stuff around the house. Our basement was like pretty cluttered. And Meg and one of her friends, Kathy, came in, and in half a day, all the stuff that didn't need to be there was out. And for her, it's looking after the neighborhood. She's got no power. She gets no money out of it, just being of service in whatever way she can. And so we can each do something small. And if we do that, then we inspire somebody else to do something small. And before you know it, we got a community of people doing small things that make a big impact.
Yeah, so true. I listened to your tracks, and for the audience now, because we're on a internet kind of connection, you don't hear the robustness of Umar's voice. But I promise you, if you get those tracks, and when Umar tells you to take a deep breath in and hold it for 4 seconds and then release it, and allow your body to relax. When you listen to his tracks, when I tell you, it gets me to such a relaxed state that I come out of it feeling so much better, so much more unstoppable. That's one thing that I really appreciate about what you do, because I believe when I came up to Baltimore last year, that really helped me move from where I was in my mindset, so that even in this pivot for me, I love photography. I'm good at what I do. I can't do it now. So what am I going to do? And it hit me last week, do a show. I have the equipment, I have the connections, I have the amazing people like you, Umar. And so I really want to thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule. Is there anything else that you'd like to say?
Well, two things. Number one, just so everyone listening to the show knows, Lamont came and you spent the night at my house. And on the way home from Baltimore to Florida, you picked up COVID-19.
Right.
Thank you for not picking it up here and leaving it here. I really appreciate that.
Right.
But you went back and you weren't feeling well. Then after X number of days, you went to the hospital. They said, stop being a baby. Go take an aspirin.
Right.
After another 4 or 5 days, you said your insides felt like they were on fire. You went back and they said, holy crap, you've got COVID.
Right.
And then, of course, you're better now. So, doesn't matter what comes your way, you can get over it. It's all about mindset. Number two, I just released a course. It's called the Success Mindset Course. And it's about the instructions of how to take charge of your mindset. So the COVID-19 is me guiding you through processes. We don't learn it, but you get to experience it. But on the Success Mindset Course, you learn how to take charge of this. So that's going to be my contribution to the world. And if I was going to leave you, I'm going to leave you with one quote, and it's from Winston Churchill. And Winston Churchill said, when you get to hell, keep going.
Oh, man. Love it.
Because you get to the other side, and you get to the other side stronger than you were going in. It sounds like a cliche, but it's true. But when you get to hell and you stop, then everything is lost. Don't stop. Keep going. Keep fighting.
Wow. Thank you so much.
Thanks
Umar.
so much for the interview. Really appreciate it.
I really appreciate it. So what I want to do is close out the show. I have 5 questions. These are check-in questions that I'd like to ask you.
You're not going to ask me what's my mother's maiden name.
No.
What's my favorite high school? None of
No.
that get your credit card information stuff, right?
No, nothing like that. All right. Here's the first check-in question. How are you feeling?
I am feeling grounded and strong.
Awesome. What's not working?
The lead generation system in Facebook. I'm trying to figure that out, and it's freaking thwarting me, but I will figure it out.
Okay, I might have somebody who can help you with that. What's working?
What's working is romance. I found this amazing woman, and I'm in love, and that's working really well.
Wow. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
What do you need?
Customers.
Like a lot of us, right? What are you proud of?
I'm proud of my dad. He broke his hip. He's 88, 2 weeks ago. And with modern medicine, he was actually walking with a walker the next day. But he is working in a super high tech field. And he's still working full time at 88 years of age
Wow.
and is learning new things every single day to stay on the cutting edge of electronic communications. And so that I'm proud of is just good role model to go, hey, you only need to stop when you want to stop.
Mm,
Keep
beautiful.
learning, keep doing.
And then the last question is, what can you let go of?
I'm not sure what I can let go of, but I think putting down ego more. I'm not egotistical, but there's a part of me still holding on to that I need to be liked, that I need to be seen as talented.
Mm,
And some people might see that as a motivator to move forward. I think at this point, it's actually getting in the way. If
mm,
you can truly let it go, you free yourself to become who you're meant to be. And I think I'm in that becoming phase. May not ever get there, but that's what I like to do, is put down ego.
beautiful. Umar, you are such a friend. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to do this show. I really appreciate you. I really love you. Thank you. And to my audience, thank you for tuning in. Please tune in tomorrow at 12 o'clock. We're going to have another great interview, another great guest. His name is James Oscar Williams, and he's got some great information to share with you. Again, thank you for tuning in. And as I close out every show, make it a great day.
Bye, everyone.